Question 18. ABCD is a quadrilateral. Work out the length of DC. Work out the length of DC. Now, you're going to have to split this into two parts. Okay, give your answer correct to three significant figures. So first of all, we're going to need to know what dB is. Okay, we need to know what dB is. Now, you can't use Pythagoras. They're not right angle triangles. You're going to have to use the cosine rule. So the cosine rule is a formula that's given to you in the front of the exam, and that is a squared equals b squared plus c squared, that's a bit of Pythagoras there, minus 2bc times by cos and the angle A. Okay, now remember A, this A here has to be the one that's opposite the angle that you have. So I'm just going to write A here. A is going to be my dB. So A squared equals B squared, which can be 5.6 or 8.2. I'm going to say 5.6. So 5.6 squared plus C, which is 8.2 squared. Now minus, now be careful, 2, I'm going to use some brackets, 2 times B, 5.6, times by C, 8.2, times by cos, 78 degrees. So I've just substituted all my values in. Now I'm going to do it a bit at a time so it doesn't go wrong. So A squared equals 5.6 squared add 8.2 squared is 98.6. So this bit is 98.6 minus 2 times 5.6 times 8.2 times by cos 78 equals... in fact, I'm not going to write that in as a number because I'm going to have to round it off. So I'm going to do 2 times 5.6 times by 8.2. So that's 91 minus 91.84 cos 78 times by cos 78. Okay. Now the reason I'm going to do that is because then I don't have to round it off yet, so I won't lose any accuracy. So A squared is going to be this, and that means A is going to be the square root of all of this. Okay, so the square root of 98.6 minus 91.8 times cos 78. So 98.6 minus, use some brackets, 91.8 times cos 78. Technically, I don't think you don't need brackets there because of bid maths. So I'm going to square root that number, and it gives me 8.9170458555. Okay, so we are not done yet. We've just worked out dB, and we need to work out DC. So now we've got two angles, we've got one side, and we want to find DC, which is another side. So we're going to have to use the sine rule, which you also get in the formula sheet in front of your exam. And that is A over sine A, sine big A, which is the angle, equals B over sine big B. And let's have a look, let's label those in. So I'm just going to get rid of that little a now, the that represented dB. Right, so now using the sine rule, little a is going to be the length DC, big A is going to be the angle opposite that length, which is 40 in this case, and little b can now be the length that I've got, and big B is 80 degrees, which is the angle opposite that. Okay, so I'm going to fill that in. So 40 degrees. So A is what I'm trying to find now. Bit confusing because I've called them both A, but I hope you can see that. So A is what I'm trying to find, which is actually DC now. So over the angle opposite that, so sine 40 equals B, which is this value here, this length. So 8.917045855 over sine B, which is the angle opposite that, which happens to be 80 degrees. And now I need to find out what A is, which is DC. So now I need to get A on its own. So I need to multiply both sides by sine 40. So I'm going to multiply both sides by sine 40. So 8.917045855 multiplied by sine 40 over sine 80. And I'm going to type that into my calculator carefully. So A, 8.917045855 times by sine 40 divided by sine 80 is 5.8201888329, and the question says it wants it to 3 significant figures. So the final answer is going to be 5.82. So DC is 5.82 centimeters. So question 18 is worth 6 whole marks in total. Let's have a look at what the mark scheme says. So the first one is a method mark for using the cosine rule, okay, which we've done here. The second is a method mark for square rooting this here to get A, or to get dB. And the third mark is for an answer of actually working out dB here. Now, the fourth mark is for using the sine rule. The fifth mark is for multiplying both sides by sine 40. And the sixth and final mark is for an answer 5.82. Okay. Now, due to the rounding, you may get slightly less or slightly more than that. The mark scheme says 5.80 to 5.83 is enough to get you the final mark. And that's it for question 18.